Hello, we are live, the Rotoworld Player News Fantasy Baseball Q&A. I'm Eric Samulski. He's James Schiano. We hope you enjoyed your 4th of July weekend. It is now pouring rain in New York City, which we have needed with this ridiculous heat, so I'll take it. James, you're wearing an England uniform, shirt, kit.
Kit.
Is it a kit if it's not the full uniform? That's my question.
I actually don't think it is. I think we wrong
'Cause I
to call
think
it a kit, but I think kit you need the shorts as well.
Yeah, I think a kit is like the full uniform. Like if you're wearing the shorts, it's a kit. But if you're wearing the shirt, I think you just got to call it a shirt. I don't know, a jersey.
That's an insult in England. A full kit blank.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, great. I mean, England Mexico was one
Why?
that and Argentina and Cape Verde on Friday. Those are the two best soccer games I've ever watched in my entire life, honestly. Besides, I think the final last World Cup. Great, incredible World Cup so far. Supporting England tonight. Can't wait for America. It's awesome World Cup.
Yeah. That game, that stretch of like England scored twice in 2 minutes, and then Mexico might have been like 5 minutes later. It was like 10 minutes of like real time. Like what the heck just happened?
I think it was less. If you took the worst time bathroom break ever, you might have missed all three regular field goals.
In addition to that, you would have missed like Jude Bellingham kick away what should have been another surefire Mexico goal, and then the England goalie saving that header and what should have been another goal. It was just Pickford. Like wild action. It was great.
Fun. Awesome.
And yes, I will obviously be watching and cheering for the US tonight. I wish we could just watch it as a normal soccer game, not with all the controversy. You know, listen, I weighed in on social media because I'm a glutton for punishment. I will stand by the fact that I don't think it should have been a red card. I think it should have been a yellow. And so I think that it is nice that, you know, at least they didn't even acknowledge it. And so it's not even like, it's nice. They're like, oh, we made the wrong call. And the reason why they're overturning it is obviously not the best reason. And so all in all, it's made a situation that I thought was a bad call become just a real sticky situation here. But listen, hope the U.S. wins. If they do, it probably won't beat Spain in the next round. And so it will wind up being irrelevant. So we'll see.
We'll see. A lot of football left to go. A lot of soccer left to play.
Yes, a lot of soccer left, a lot of baseball left. Even if some people in your leagues have kind of dropped out because this tends to happen at this point of year. And again, that can enable you to make up a lot of ground. We've talked about this before. You should be for sure looking at specific needs for your categories for your league and not just adding players because they're good players or they're playing well. Make sure they are going to actually help you for what you need. If you need a catcher, Joe wants to know in a one catcher league, Dalton Rushing, Kyle Tier, Gabriel Moreno. Thanks.
I know Rushing has been largely disappointing since taking over in the stint as the starting catcher for Will Smith. I think I might still tend to lean towards him. It's just the best supporting cast and still a pretty solid set of underlying skills and someone who has shown that when they can get hot, it can just drain like a waterfall very quickly. And yeah, I mean, the other two, Teal and Moreno, we've spoken about, I feel like a lot on this live stream over the course of the season. They're more just fringy 10-12 team, 10-12 team, one catcher leagues, where Rushing, I think, has much more pop potential than the other two.
Yeah, I think I lean Teal because we know that Will Smith is coming back most likely right after the All-Star break was the last report that we got.
Yeah.
And so sure, you could roll with Rushing for this week and then make the move, you know, afterwards. But I think I just think Teal is a solid enough catcher in a one catcher league that I would use him.
Yeah, toss up.
With Trout coming off the IL in the next couple of days, I have to decide whether to cut Cody Clemens or Jose Altuve to activate him. Is it crazy that I think I should cut Altuve?
No, right? It's not that crazy. I mean,
I'm trying to pull up the. I don't think it's that crazy. I thought Jose Altuve was a cut earlier in the year, and you know, obviously, that was before the injury or when the injury happened. Cody Clemens has cooled a little bit of late.
Still solid.
I'm trying to find. So since
Since when?
Here's Altuve's stats. I'm trying to get a bigger swath of at bats here. But so in the last 31 games, because I just put since Monday, May 11th to this Monday. So the last 31 games for Altuve, hitting 226, 5 home runs, 17 runs scored, 13 RBIs. It's not great production.
There also
4.8% barrel rate, 26% hard hit rate. The lineup when they're hitting will allow him to score runs, but this isn't the Astros lineup of old. And so this isn't a situation where I really believe that he's going to like help you in run totals like he used to. In that stretch, Cody Clemens has been the far superior player. Clemens has struggled in his last 11 games. Even in his last 11 games, struggle for Cody Clemens. 233, 5 homers, 10 runs scored, 13 RBIs.
Yeah, it's like his only
better
hits,
than Altuve.
Way better. The only thing that I can say for Altuve right now is that he does just simply hit in front of Yordan Alvarez every day still. Yes, so naturally, that will give you something. But Altuve, like if he was 32 or 33, I might even still be inclined to be like, just keep riding it out. At 36, at the All-Star break, after years and years of some of the worst underlying metrics in the entire league, it just feels like he's probably just going to be a 700 OPS guy the rest of the year. He might smack you 8 to 10 more home runs. He doesn't steal bases anymore. Like it's very difficult to find. Oh, forgot to turn my air conditioner off. It's very difficult to find reasons why Jose Altuve does snap back besides being Jose Altuve.
Yeah. I think I'm with you in that one. I think I lean Cody Clemens here, and it is weird to say, but I think like even if Clemens, falls flat, like a guy like Cole Young is on the waiver wire in a lot of leagues, and I think I might rather have him than Altuve. So I think there will be options there.
Definitely.
Still holding. Sheehan gets Arizona next. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. He's
holding, buying. Yes, I'm trying to get Emmett Sheehan.
Yeah, it's just the time of the year where we talk about this a lot. He's going to be better than some of the pop-up pitchers that wind up on your waiver wire in the 12-team leagues, even some of the 10-team leagues currently. He's just not – there's too much going on. The fastball velocity is snapped back in such a solid way where once the slider consistency, which will go in and out for Sheehan, returns, he probably just winds up as a top 40 pitcher moving forward.
That's where I'm at on him. So, I'm holding, I'm getting, I'm everything I can. Points league question for you. I'm holding DeLauder, Caglione, Eldridge, and Luis Garcia Jr., ignoring positional value. Should I drop any of those for Dylan Cruz, Tommy Edman, or Esmeralda Valdez?
I'll lop Edman off because if we're in a points league, I'm much less concerned about Tommy Edman. He doesn't provide much speed anymore anyway, but I still think it's one of the best things he can provide. Garcia's way too hot right now to drop. And the fact that you have second base, first base eligibility, 10-team points league, that changes it. DeLauder probably is on my drop line, a 10-team league, and part of me wants to just go for the shiny new toy in Esmeralda Valdez, even though in terms of how I think those guys perform rest of the year, it might not be super different, but the points league sometimes will defer to power, and I think Valdez actually does have more raw power, at least showing it right now, than Chase DeLauder. If you were to make that move and just kind of ride the wave, I think that's very, very respectable.
My concern, I agree with you, but my concern is that wave might be super short.
It might
because
be
the Pirates said they expect to get both O'Neal Cruz and Spencer Horwitz back before the end of the month. When you do that, playing time gets tough to come by because you have O'Neal Cruz and Brian Reynolds playing in the outfield every day. Jake Mangum, and then Ryan O'Hearn kind of moves out there because Spencer Horwitz goes back to first base. Jake Mangum, while not putting up flashy numbers like Esmeralda Valdez, is putting up good numbers, and he gives you a lot of speed.
Valdez does as well.
You also have Tyler Callahan, who's playing over his head right now and hitting really well too, who's going to need at bats when Spencer Horwitz comes back into the first base mix. I don't think that anybody else can play like third base, which is why you're going to still see a lot of Nick Gonzalez at bats. Like there's nobody else you can slot in there. And so you're using the DH spot. And Ozuna hasn't been good. He's going to be on the bench a lot. And so they could use DH for Valdez or Callahan, but it's just going to be, I think, less consistent playing time than you're getting right now. It's just something to factor in there.
Definitely. But there's someone who probably could be dropped in a 10-team league anyway. So it's fine to rotate that last outfield spot.
Yeah. Do you see Ian Seymour and Ronaldo Lopez and Dustin May as difference makers in head-to-head points league, or is there concern?
I think the last 2 starts from May, with now possibly being pushed back or skipped, I don't know what the final ruling on that was. There should be concern. But I see all 3 of these guys be able to be difference makers in the second half. We both have been high on May. You wrote a great article about him a few weeks ago, and we both love Ian Seymour. Ronaldo Lopez is probably more of the third banana in this crew, but also the Braves. I mean, like, talk about opportunity in a rotation. Like, you or I might be called upon to pitch this week if they had their numbers. So I think all of these guys are worth rostering in the average head-to-head points league, and I still probably would rank them Seymour, May, Lopez, but all of them are phenomenally wild cards.
Yeah. The report from yesterday for the Cardinals is that May is their plan to have him start today. So we'll see if that actually is the case, but that is the plan. Seymour first for me. I think that he is the only one of this group that I think has the chance to be a real difference maker. Not saying that he will be, but I think he has the highest upside of the group for me.
I think the highest floor as well.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Ron says, I need a legit hitter. Who are good targets for these pitchers? Are any of these arms better than sell high? So let's do this first. Any of these pitchers, quote unquote, better than sell high? Sandy Alcantara, Eduardo Rodriguez, Bryce Miller, Yuri Perez. Are any of them that you're saying I can't get rid of those guys?
Yeah, I'm definitely not Erod, but I also think that the fantasy baseball world is way too sharp on him, and everyone kind of knows that whatever's happening now will not persist, even though right now in the player rater, he's the 25th ranked starting pitcher on the season. Unbelievable. Foster Griffin is that's all pitchers in general. Foster Griffin's the 12th ranked pitcher in fantasy baseball this year. Even Bryce Miller, just to move the conversation to him, in 50 innings is the 16th ranked pitcher in fantasy baseball right now. He could be the one that I guess you could refer to as he might be the best sell high, because while he's great and I believe in everything, there's no way you continue to have a whip under 0.7 and the ERA under 2. But also I do still believe in his skill, his acumen, him being a top 25 pitcher. We've seen him do it for a sustained time before. Last year kind of hold firm in our heads, but 2 years ago he looked like an ascendant top 5 or 10 pitcher in the entire league. I don't know. And Sandy and Yuri, like we've been waiting for Yuri to kind of be the fire-breathing dragon for a while now, and it looks like he just unlocked it all this week, doing what he did yesterday in Sacramento. If I had to trade one just for trying to find the best confluence of value and like this sell high concept, it might be Bryce, but while I'll also still rank him as definitely the best of this group.
Yeah, Bryce Miller, I just looked at the ESPN, the Fangraphs player rater for the last month, and this is pitchers and hitters. He is the 6th ranked player in fantasy over the last month. Luis Garcia Jr., who we talked about before, is 4th. But like, listen, Bryce Miller is ahead of Yordan Alvarez, Nick Kurtz, Jackson Churio, Fernando Tatis Jr., James Wood. Like, that's not saying if you offered him 1-for-1 for those guys, you would get him, but he's probably going to get you the biggest return right now out of that group. Now, I will say, to your point, Sandy Alcantara is the 24th ranked starting pitcher over the last 30 days. And so that's ahead of guys like James Wood, Byron Buxton, Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper, Jack Caglione, Rafael Devers, Wilson Contreras. And so there's still a chance that, like, because of Sandy's recent production, you could get a decent bat for him. And I think Bryce Miller and Yuri Perez have higher upside than Sandy. And so I think Sandy might be the sell high option right now.
He's a funny one because it's like that will be so much beauty lies in the eye of the beholder, because I feel like some people still consider Sandy to be a top flight starting pitcher. And some people, if they had to deal with Sandy's mess last year, they probably say they don't even want to touch him or don't even want to look at him. And he has kind of the ugliest surface stats of the crew. So again, knowing your own league mates, you have to kind of figure out can I get like a Ketel Marte? Can I get like a top flight bat for Bryce Miller? Or can I still get someone that's like incredibly reasonable, very quality bat for Sandy? Like, do you want to get I don't even know. Do you buy low in like a Drake Baldwin for Sandy? Like, uh, do you trust? I don't know why I'm naming Braves right now. They're just on my mind. Do you trust like a Michael Harris? Like,
I wonder why the Braves are on your mind.
yeah, right. Is this a rotisserie league and you have space to move in batting average? Do you want to like see if you can get Zach Neto, Bryce? I don't know this. Very Bryce and Miller, Bryce and Sandy are the ones I would think about trading. But it's all about which one you think your league mates give you the best like value proposition for.
Yeah. Agreed on that one. I still am going to go. I'm going to try and go Sandy because I am going to say that I keep unfairly dinging Bryce Miller for these injury concerns, and he keeps producing. And so, I should just say, hey, Bryce, you're not an injury risk.
But can you get
or not any more than anybody else?
Can you get like a top 20 bat for Bryce Miller? Like, is it a spot where if you offer Bryce Miller for again, like and a pitcher for Corbin Carroll, like do you make someone think? That's kind of where I'm considering you start to throw Bryce Miller out and just be like arrogant about it. Be like, I want your second best hitter or best hitter for Bryce Miller.
Sure. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's worth a shot. Can't hurt. Trash says any waiver third baseman to consider. Also worth stashing Brendan Donovan or Mike Hell to be my eventual third baseman rest of season. If you have an IL spot for Michael Garcia and need a third baseman, I like that. I mean, I really think a lot of his struggles were connected to the fact that he was playing through multiple injuries. There are multiple times where he got hurt and then didn't wind up going on the IL. Mm-hmm. Some other options. I'm just going to, I'm doing this from May 1st. Sorry, from June 1st. Let's do this. From June 1st on, sorting by third base, hard hit rate. So just like which guys are hitting the ball really hard in general. We know that leads to, lots of production. Kyle Karros.
Yeah.
51% hard hit rate. He's hitting 352 in 30 games with 4 home runs, 22 runs scored, 14 RBIs. But they're going to be on the road this whole week.
Yeah.
But, obviously son of a major leaguer, really good plate discipline, good contact ability, not going to hit for tons of power, but you could do worse if you're looking off the waiver wire than somebody like that.
I was going to say, we're coming off 3 weeks with the Rockies have played, like 14 home games. Yeah. Definitely will inflate a lot of those Kyle Karros stats.
Yeah. We'll keep going back to Blaze Alexander.
Consistently.
He's 11th among third basemen in hard hit rate with 46.2% since June 1st. Not a lot of power, but batting averages, should be good. Counting stats have been good. So that could be an option for you on the waiver wire. Let's see.
Your boy Durbin.
Yeah. He's not hitting the ball hard, so he didn't show up on this. But yeah, Durbin's been heating up a little bit right now.
Zach Geloff just came off the injured list. He's someone we've liked this year. Royce
Lewis. Blaze Jordan's been better than I thought if you're in a deeper format.
That's a very deep one, though.
Yeah, I mean, but at a 15-teamer, in his 18 games, he's hitting 246 with 13 RBIs in 18 games, 42% hard hit rate. Like that's,
that's solid.
It's not terrible.
Royce Lewis, since coming back up, he looks healthy. His bat speed has really shot up over the last few weeks. So it seems like he might have been playing through an injury, which is a shock with Royce Lewis. But in a 10-12 team league, he's someone that looks like they could make an impact at first or third base moving forward this season. I like him as a pickup.
Start 3, bench 3 this week. So we're going to go start 3 in a points league. Okay. Points league. Joey Cantillo gets Minnesota and Miami, both on the road. Drew Rasmussen gets the Yankees. Peyton Tolley gets the White Sox and the Mets. Kyle Bradish gets the Royals. Jared Jones gets the Braves. And Ian Seymour gets the Yankees.
I think definitely not Jared Jones, mostly just because of the other 2 start options and having.
Also, I just did my streaming starting pitching article. I'm gonna amend this because Seymour is set for 2.
Is he?
Yankees, Mariners, both at home. But so he also is a 2-start starter, Seymour.
So Yeah, if he was a 1-star there, I would have said the first 3 guys. But if all 3 of those guys are the 2-starters, you probably feel horrific benching Drew Rasmussen, but you probably just have to roll with all the 2-starters.
Yeah, I could see starting Rasmussen over Seymour just because like Seymour's second start is the last day before the All-Star break on Sunday.
Yeah.
They're putting him back in the rotation. It's the Rays. Like I could just see them just going full bullpen game on that one.
Something like that, yeah.
Bradish against just Kansas City is intriguing to me.
It is nice. I got him in a lot of places, but the 2-starters, you got to roll with them. And Raz is definitely still better than Bradish.
Yeah. Mad Dad says JJ Bleday has been pretty mid to bad in June. Would you endorse dropping or holding? I endorse dropping, and I dropped in a few places.
Yeah, likewise. Post team league, you could probably find a better outfielder right now.
Yeah, I agree. Trash says thoughts on a buy low on Freddie Peralta, Framber, and even Ranger if he hits the IL. If you had to buy low on one of those guys, who is it?
Rangers by far pitch the best, but this is the time of year that Rangers somehow, some way, always something gets funky. But using the All-Star break to your advantage, if this is only like not a minimum stay, it doesn't look like it'll be that, but the 2 to 3 week absence, this is the best time to trade for a guy anticipating a low absence. It's a lower body injury instead of an arm injury, so I think that helps. I don't trust Freddie Peralta at all. Like everything's pointing in the wrong direction. The fact he's losing extension is worrisome. And Framber felt like he was turning the corner, then he turned the corner in the opposite direction again. But all 3 of these guys have good track records. I'd probably go reverse order of this: Ranger, Framber, Freddie.
I want to put Freddie ahead of Framber.
Yeah.
We've just seen so many seasons where he has a pretty mediocre first half and then has a really good second half.
Yeah.
But then again, listen, I mean, Framber is who Framber is at this point. Like we know there's some safety in the fact that when his curveball is working, he is just great, solid. So yeah, I think you're probably right. Even though I have this voice in the back of my head that says,
So that probably is trash. That's probably a reason to be like, whoever you can get for the least in this group probably is the one that's the most worth it to do, because just the argument debate over which one of them, the fact that between Framber and Fred, there's nothing like deep and analytical is pointing to us like, yeah, this is why they will succeed. It's more like they will succeed because they have succeeded.
Yeah.
So it's just you're kind of flipping your coin.
Love a coin flip starting pitcher.
That's what it is.
Would you target Skeens as a buy low right now? Owner is desperate to move him, and I was considering offering Ashcraft and Jordan Walker. I mean, if the owner is desperate to move him, I'd be trying to get Paul Skeens.
Yeah, jump in.
I would offer that. Why not? Like
Bryce Miller for Paul Skeens right now. Who you like rest of the season?
Paul Skeens still.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I know that. Listen, there's a lot of like his spin rate has gone down every single start. Like people are worried. And so I'm not trying to get overly worried about that. Maybe I'm wrong, but
the fear is just forecasting injury, and that's kind of a fool's errand.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, yes. And especially your forecast. I mean, it's not like he's been bad.
He's been not good, especially relative to Paul Skeens. Like the fact that he's a top 20 pitcher instead of the best pitcher. It feels bad.
Relative to Paul Skeens' part, yes, but it's not like you're getting like Shane Bieber's last few starts or whatever out here. No. You're like, this guy's very clearly hurt.
And for like this potential trade, like even Jordan Walker before this weekend was pretty bad for like 3-4 weeks, and he feels very secure. But also, we could see Jordan Walker really struggling. And Ashcraft's been great. Also, hasn't been as good as he was through April and May. Like Skeens definitely outperforms Ashcraft in my mind the rest of the season, and then Walker still is someone that likely while he's been fantastic, you did pick him up off the waiver wire in April.
Yeah.
And most like that to me is a lock trade offer. I'm assuming that manager would decline that, and then the negotiation will actually begin.
Listen, but it's not an offensive first offer.
No,
and that's the important part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Owen Murphy a must add? Owen Murphy,
close.
I'm assuming we're talking about the Braves minor league pitcher. Mm-hmm. And my answer to that is no. And the reason my answer to that is no is because AJ Smith-Shawver threw 4 shuttered innings at high A yesterday, was up to 47 pitches. So AJ Smith-Shawver is going to start this week and be up to about 60 pitches. which means you may get AJ Smith-Shawver back in the Braves rotation after the All-Star break, because the minor, I assume he gets one more start while the major leaguers are on the All-Star break, and then he could come up and be about 80 pitches. And so I don't, even though it's like, oh man, there's an opening for Owen Murphy. If Smith-Shawver is back in the rotation, I don't know that there is as much of an opening, because then you have, Waldrop and Reynaldo Lopez, who can kind of like piggyback and do things like that. And also, like, I mean, a 3.88 ERA and 60 innings at AAA isn't blowing my mind for Owen Murphy right now.
No, but it came with a 27% strikeouts, only 8% walks. It's a very good fastball slider combo.
Yeah.
The only reason must add is probably the wrong designation, but like think about the names you just said. The Braves are always very meritocratic about who gets the starts and who gets the playing time for them with these young players. And I think they're kind of just messing them all in together to see who can rise up, because they need someone to rise up. Like on this roster right now, this week before the All-Star break, you're going to have Waldrop, Richie, Owen Murphy. Every one of those guys getting a bulk outing, and they're going to kind of compete with each other. And then I mean, we talked about liking Reynaldo Lopez. I don't necessarily trust something. Like, I don't trust that. Bryce Elder has been one of the worst pitchers in baseball going on 3 or 4 weeks now. Grant Holmes is like Mr. 5 2/3 every start. Like, he's a must add in the sense, he's not a must add in the sense that he has a spot moving forward, supreme confidence, but he's someone that I would definitely look to add right now, because if there's a good outing, they will stick with him. Like, I don't think that they trust AJ Smith-Shawver so much that he would automatically supplant him, because he's had this great track record of success as well.
I could see that. So
he's a could add.
And right now I think he's going to be up for bulk purposes is my expectation, because right now the starting rotation for this week seems to be Reynaldo Lopez, Bryce Elder, Hurston Waldrop, Grant Holmes, Chris Sale. Those are 5 guys. Now, many of those, Elder, Waldrop, adding in Lopez, Elder, Waldrop, Holmes could all go like 3 innings, and then you need Owen Murphy. But I find it hard to talk about somebody as a must add when they're not currently in the starting rotation. They could pitch their way into the starting rotation, but another starter is also coming off the IL who could then leapfrog them in the rotation. And so that's where I'm at with the must add. Like, if you want to gamble, I would limit it to like a 15-team league right now and hope that he pitches his way in.
Yes.
Oye says Langolier still hasn't been cleared, so I may need an emergency add at catcher. Who is my drop? Blade, Mead, Goldie, McClain, or Augustine Ramirez? It's a 14-team league dynasty, weekly points, so that's why he likes Augustine and McClain long term. I think Blade might be the drop.
I wouldn't, in a weekly points dynasty, I wouldn't feel as bad dropping Augustine Ramirez. You might only have one more season of him even having catcher eligibility with the emergence of Joe Mack. And if it's in a points league, you lose the stolen base upside. That made a lot of people fall in love with Augustine Ramirez's profiles. And you might just wind up with a 315 on base, 25 home run, DH first baseman, which wouldn't even be a top 15 first baseman in a points league.
But Blade, my thought on Blade is like, we're talking about potentially dropping Blade in redraft leagues because he's really kind of slumped, and he'll be 29 this winter. So for dynasty purposes, it's not like you're going to get some next level. I just kind of feel like if you're not playing JJ Blade right now in a dynasty league, you're not getting any future value of JJ Blade.
Totally fair.
His follow-up was the catchers that are available are Joe Mack, Endy Rodriguez, and Jonah Heim. I would go with Endy Rodriguez.
I would go with Endy as well, but I guess if the A's were playing home games, I would consider Heim, but they're not this week. So,
yeah. What is the next question? Mad Dad says, where are you in terms of dropping or holding Jared Jones and Shane Bieber? Firmly holding Jared Jones, firmly dropping Shane Bieber.
Yeah, Shane Bieber, this looks like a mess. It's really bad.
I think he's really hurt.
He might have been hurt for 4 straight years now, basically. It's kind of sad. But
it's sad.
It's sad.
It's sad. But I never felt like he was fully healthy after the forearm thing at the end of last year. And so I think that's where we are. Jared Jones, I think, is going to come around. Who do you like rest of the season? Jack Flaherty, who's looked like his best version coming off the IL, or Gage Jump, who's fading fast? We should just note on the Gage Jump is fading fast. One start was the Dodgers in Sacramento, which I don't think anybody should have expected to go well. And then, yes, the other start, Miami, was a poor start. Again, in Sacramento, part of the risk of Gage Jump. But I will say, because I covered Jack Flaherty in one of the last starting pitcher streaming things I did. And actually, he was in one of my my starting pitching buy or sell article from last week. Is Jack Flaherty has runs like this where he locates the breaking balls really well at the bottom of the zone, and he looks good, especially when he can throw 93 to 94 on the four-seamer. But then he goes through stretches where he's back down around 92.5, and the command of the breaking balls is hit or miss, and the results go haywire. So I think I would prefer Flaherty over Gage Jump because of the ballpark and the fact that we've seen him have runs like this before. But I don't think Flaherty is I think you could wind up dropping Flaherty in a month if the velocity goes down and the command wavers and you're just like, I'm going to find somebody else.
Yeah, I was going to mention the velocity because the last two starts, Flaherty has been more 93, 94 compared to 91, 93. And we talked about this with Jump last week. It's very frustrating that a pitcher with so much talent and with such good stuff is this frustrating of a player to roster. I literally talked about a decision I was staring at. I think it was either Trevor Rogers 1 start versus the Gage Jump 2 starts. I was like, whatever, 2 starts can't be that bad. And it wound up completely costing my matchup going with Gage Jump. But while he's more frustrating to manage, you kind of are able to forecast when Jump could have his bad games, where Jack Flaherty could show up and crush the Dodgers and then come in your lineup next week and get bombed by the Royals. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. I just don't know which Jack Flaherty's coming to the park every day. And that's why he's more frustrating in a way that's much more difficult for us to prepare for. And that's why I would probably still prefer Jump in this Would You Rather.
No. Adam says, should he drop Bryce Eldridge, Hunter Goodman? He can move Liam Hicks to catcher, or TJ Rumfield to activate Murakami in a couple of days.
I think Rumfield because...
Sorry.
What?
Redraft points league, 10-team league. So the points league matters for the Bryce Eldridge component of it because obviously power is a big calling card for him.
I think it would still be Rumfield for the same reasons as before. It's like I'm very inclined to start him at home and not on the road. Or Bryce Eldridge, while it's been cold for a few weeks now, just a great series in Coors too. Speaking of Coors, but he's a guy who I still feel like is giving you more for the rest of the season, and that's just Rumfield's still a Coors play to me.
Agreed. And Rumfield, I like Rumfield in like a 15-team league as your corner infield because there's nothing bad about what he does. No, but I would rather roster Bryce Eldridge right now.
Definitely.
Is Jake Bennett must roster even in a 10-team points league? 10-team is tough because it's, there's a lot of options out there. I like Jake Bennett. I wrote about him today in the article, my starting pitcher streaming article, which you can check out over on NBC Sports, just came out around noon. He is basically just four-seam changeup. The only other pitch he throws more than 7% of the time is a sinker, which again, great because he's a lefty for lefties. He will throw it to righties, but you're not like, oh, great, this lefty throws a sinker to righties. Like that's something that gets me excited. And so he is doing this because his command is like superb, like not just good command. It's like elite command. And he has like 7.1 feet of extension on all of his pitches. So that 93-mile-an-hour fastball up in the zone is basically 96 and up in the zone. And he gets the changeup down. And so I like him. I think it will work. I don't think we're witnessing like some true breakout here. I think we're witnessing a command-oriented pitcher who's just feeling good right now and is able to hit his spots and has faced, outside of the Yankees start, even though the Yankees have really been slumping, has faced a kind of like a mediocre stretch of opponents.
And that's also That's fine. It's good. He's a pitcher
Yeah.
who can flash. This is kind of the first week where Jake Benny gets the 10-team league consideration, but there will be a cold stretch at some point. He's probably like just trying to gauge how many pitchers you're rostering in your league. A top 65-ish pitcher, 60-ish. Is that where he'd be in a re-rank right now? And it's fun while it works, but command is something that we know can go in and out more than stuff. He's command over stuff. So it's a good thing to ride it right now. One more matchup this week outside of Fenway Park against the White Sox before the All-Star break. I would say that's a fine time to use him. There's also some bust potential there, but that's a fine matchup for him. After the All-Star break, you reevaluate. You see how the Red Sox line up their schedule. And he's more of a schedule-dependent streamer in a 10-team league than someone who is a must roster.
Yep. But again, a guy we like, a streamer where we could prioritize.
Definitely that we like.
Redraft points league. How do you rank these guys rest of season? Nick Lodolo, Jared Jones, Sandy Alcantara, Casey Mize. I'm going to let you take the lead first as our points league expert.
I think I'm Sandy 1, especially in a points league. You get a lot of benefits for pitching deeper into games. And Sandy has, again, it's been frustrating with a few massive blowups, but it's been largely consistent outside of those. And Casey Mize might even come second for me. The injuries have been annoying, but the emergence of the slider has been a really big deal. The fact that he can now use that as a put-away pitch against righties, a pitch that he has not really been able to access in a meaningful way as a put-away pitch his entire career. So now to give that look with the splitter is really nice for him. And then Jones Lodolo, I still love the stuff, and I love what they're doing moving forward. But at some point, it has to be kind of, what have you done for me lately? When you have one guy in Mize who's been great and one guy in Sandy who just gobbles up 7-inning starts in points leagues, and those other guys can't get close to that.
I think Jared Jones is probably last in a redraft points league because of the the issues with command and stuff coming off of Tommy John. I can't believe, I have been down on Casey Mize, and Nick Pollock on our last podcast called me on just like not fully believing in the slider in the way that I should based on what Mize has done. And I've had to dig into my priors a little bit there to make sure I'm not being too mean to Casey Mize. But there's still a part of me that wants to put Mize third here. I'm not going to lie, but I get why it makes sense to put Lodolo behind him.
I literally Friday afternoon had that exact moment with Casey Mize, because I get comments all the time on my YouTube channel like, why don't you respect Casey Mize more? Why don't you respect Casey Mize more? Just because I've never respected him in the past, and I had to really. I looked at the slider, I looked at the specs of it, I saw the changes from last year. I was like, you know what? Fine, it's time to start respecting Casey Mize till he winds up on the injured list again with another ticky-tack injury. But he can't command it. But the fact that he's still missing bats with him, like, I trust you more.
He is missing a lot of bats with it.
Yeah.
I traded Bryce Miller for Casey Schmidt, and I think I got a good deal.
I don't think you got a good deal. I'm sorry, belligerent.
I am a Casey Schmidt fan. I would have held out for more.
We were talking before about the fact that it's time with Bryce Miller where you could start being really aggressive in trade offers. And that's not what we mean Casey Schmidt. Yeah.
Harry Brooks says, with Trout returning, who should I drop as Merlin Valdez or Cole Carrig in a head-to-head points league? You and I have been getting a lot of comments from people because we both say it's time to move on from, or you could drop Cole Carrig.
He keeps hitting home runs.
People are like, what? And then he homered over the weekend. Then he sat on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's part of the larger argument is that's even without Brenton Doyle coming back. And Brenton Doyle could be back this week. If not, he's definitely back after the All-Star break. And so it's crowded. Now this Rockies front office is a different front office. And so they might actually make moves and free up playing time, because Zach Veen is also hitting really well in AAA right now. And they have no place for Zach Veen to play in the outfield. And it's great that they're getting this from Jake McCarthy, but
he also should get traded.
He should get traded. You didn't sign Jake McCarthy to a long-term deal. This is use what he's doing and flip him for somebody and then open up a spot for Cole Carrig or open up a spot for Zach Veen. But if you need somebody right now, I don't know that the playing time is going to be there for Cole Carrig until the trade deadline.
Similarly with Esmeralda Valdez, like we mentioned, after the All-Star break, it won't be there. But I think this week specifically, Valdez will play more and Carrig will not be playing at home. So that's, in this moment, if you're choosing between the two of them, that's why we would drop Carrig. Carrig, right?
Carrig or
Carrig.
We'll have to look that up.
I got it right now. What? Oh, such a big difference. Thank you, Belligerent.
Never mind.
Way
I got
better
Casey
trade.
Smith for Bryce Elder. Yeah, that's a pretty large difference. Yeah.
Carrig.
Also, I can't believe you got Casey Schmidt for Bryce Elder. Woo.
Yeah, like that's awesome. Bryce Elder is
Deal.
done.
Don't do that other one though.
He's
Trash says my current rotation in a 12-man roto is Hunter Brown, Hunter Green, Zach Wheeler, Jacob DeGrom, Max Fried, Logan Gilbert, Yuri Perez, Nick Lodolo, Kyle Bradley. Any weak links I should look to upgrade? No.
You're set.
I mean, if anything, that's a lot of pitchers. So maybe you'd try to package one with a bat and upgrade to a bat. And in that sense, I probably would move on from Lodolo and Bradish.
But also,
before some of these other guys.
If we're thinking about should look to upgrade, and we think the rotation's great, guess the option. If we don't know if your hitting's weak, but like if you want to trade one of these guys, get the best bat you possibly could. I think I mean it's weird to say, but like DeGrom is probably the one who has the most name value in a trade, but the biggest difference between his production, he's been great. Jacob DeGrom's been sensational all year. Again, he's got 30% strikeouts to whips under 1, but like similar to the Bryce Miller conversation before. If you can get like a tier 1, like a real tier 1 hitter for Jacob DeGrom, knowing that we like guys like Toley, Bradish, Lodolo more than the consensus and Yuri, and think that they will be top flight pitchers, at least with the upside to be the rest of the season, could be time to, again, get a little bit aggressive with your league mate to see if you can get a top tier hitter for a Jacob DeGrom or Zach Wheeler or something. Also, or just stand pat because your rotation's sick.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's helping your team. I mean, obviously it depends on what you need. This is who would I need to add another player with Woo to trade for Nick Kurtz? At this point, I think you might.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Unless you're in your league with Nick Pollock and the trades with him.
Why?
Because Nick loves Brian Woo. And he hates pitchers and he hates hitters.
Yeah.
But
rank these starters. Rest of Andrew Abbott, Spencer Arrighetti, Slade Ciccone.
Arrighetti, Ciccone, Abbott. That's my lean.
Arrighetti, Abbott, Ciccone.
Okay.
I just
not into the new changeup.
No, not yet. Maybe I should be. Maybe I'll write about it next week. But right now, not fully into it. Who would you pick up for this matchup today until July 19th? That's another thing. If you're doing head-to-head leagues,
so annoying.
You got to check that out in your league and just make sure. I think some leagues may start. I think most leagues probably do it this way. But yeah.
I believe ESPN is doing it this way, but I think CBS is doing the reverse way. I'm not sure about Yahoo. If you guys need to check on that.
Abner Uribe, Trevor McGill, Aaron Ashby, Chad Patrick. It's a Brewers only league. For head-to-head points league, it's 2 points for a win or a save. I think it's McGill if it's 2 points for a win or a save, because the other guys you're hoping they just get wins.
Yeah, it's why are we only rostering the Brewers bullpen here? Are there other options? Is this an NL Central only league?
I think it's probably the amount of games they have would be my guess.
Definitely McGill.
Because they have 8 games this week and then the All-Star week. But so it's definitely McGill. I hate fantasy sports says, hope you guys had a great weekend. You guys are amazing. Kept me in first place. Hey, thanks. The PS, the Nets blow.
True.
Not a great end to that, but yeah. Logan Henderson comes off the IL Thursday. I have Jake Bennett and Ian Seymour as my most droppable guys. Who would you let go or wait and see who does better 10-team categories? My question to you is also do you need to activate Henderson right now?
Don't. Because
I wouldn't if you don't have to. His last rehab start was 68 pitches. And so it's going to be his first start off the IL, probably around 80 pitches. And so I wouldn't force an activation for that if I didn't have to.
Yes. I think this is the exact same dilemma that in fantasy football got Jock Peterson slapped by Tommy Pham, storing guys on your IR when you don't have to. It's a bit of a cheeky play, but if you did have to drop someone, just to go through that world, we did talk about the fact that Jake Bennett is more of an opportunistic streamer in a 10-team league, and we like Ian Seymour more. So if you had to, I think Bennett would be my drop. But again, Might as well just get through the All-Star break, leave him on your IL, don't put him in your lineup this week, and then make a decision next week when we have more information.
I like that. I could go with that one. I the smacking in the face part, you definitely don't want that. You don't need to get in that kind of those kind of dilemmas with your league mates.
No.
Once Jeremy Pena is back, should I drop Dansby Swanson in the points league? Hard to drop Dansby Swanson right now.
I mean, projections love him. That's it. You always have to trust the projections. And they said Dansby Swanson would be a great hitter this year, and now suddenly he is. But also, it could be a funny thing where you probably did just get the best you're ever going to get from Dansby Swanson for the rest of the season.
Yes.
I certainly like Pena more than him rest of season. It's funny to drop Dansby Swanson after 3 of the best 3 weeks in the history of baseball, but Pena will be better.
Do you think that Pena will be better in a points league?
I do think Pena will be better in a points league. Again, similarly to first the projections once again, they still like Pena more. I think he will take that coveted leadoff spot in front of Yordan Alvarez once he is back and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always hit. Pena this year, the injuries are the issue, but like he's kind of followed up what he did last year well enough for me to really trust moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tristan Peters or Dominic Canzone?
Canzone's more productive, but he doesn't play as much against lefties. Peters has been a revelation, but the underlying stuff isn't very good. I think the depth of your league matters. If plate appearances are much more important to you, I would go with Peters. But for some reason, in a shallower league where you kind of want more boom potential, I actually would roll with Canzone.
I like Canzone, especially if it's like a daily moves league and you know that he's going to sit.
Daily moves 100% him.
Again, this was also like thoughts on Dominic Canzone. Savant is bright red. I think you and I both like Dominic Canzone, and I think that there is a lot of power in that bat. He's been a solid big leaguer for a few years now. It's just, the ability to play, to be able to move the matchups in and out. Like if you're in a weekly lineup lock league, it's tough. If you're in an NFBC format where it's half, then maybe it's a little better. But it's tough when somebody doesn't play against lefties.
He sat looking on roster resource now against 3 of the last 8 righties that the Mariners have played, while he's also started against 3 of the last 4 lefties. That doesn't really make a ton of sense to me, but that means he is still a part-time player as well as he's playing, as well as all the underlying stuff is. Like they're just Cal Raleigh and Randy Rosarena have been taking some designated hitter reps, and that they don't really trust Canzone a ton in the outfield.
Yeah, I don't know how he grades out, but I think it's pretty below average. But again,
about 10 games there this year.
Daily moves leagues, I'm all for adding Canzone.
Yeah,
even despite those concerns. Hold or drop Noelvi Marte?
I mean, I'd be pretty okay to drop him unless you're in even the 15-team league. I'd be like, if something else was out there, I'd consider it.
Yeah, I dropped him in a few places. Somebody just said in our chat that Owen Murphy is starting today, but
I can see that. I mean, right now, where is it? I see Reynaldo Lopez on the MLB.com schedule. So let's see if something else has happened recently.
Yeah,
it's against the Mets, so I'm sure he's going to go 7 scoreless, 9 strikeouts.
I'm just seeing that he was called up, and I'm seeing there's speculation that he would take Hurston Waldrop's spot in the rotation, but like I don't think Hurston Waldrop has a real spot in the rotation.
It would make sense for him to take Martin Perez.
The Atlanta Journal-Constitution article on him being called up doesn't say that he's starting. Yeah.
It probably makes more sense for him to start later in the week with the Martin Perez injury. Let me see when the last time he started in AAA.
And I also don't know why. Like Reynaldo Lopez was good in his last outing, and so I don't know. He's not getting bumped.
No.
So
Murphy, I mean, I guess maybe that's a speculation because today would be Murphy's day. He started July 1st, his last start in AAA. So maybe he does slot in earlier. The Braves rotation, there's so many moving parts. They can kind of start any day, and it would make sense with everyone else in there. But for this week, so Waldrop is tomorrow. So maybe that is how they make it make sense. Everyone else just goes back a day. Maybe they keep Sale in regular rest for Friday and then just mishmash it this weekend against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I just haven't seen anything that says he's definitely going to start. So if, whatever, keep an eye on that, I guess. Hold on to Bradish, Michael King, and Peyton Tolley, or drop any for Valdez. I guess that's Framber, Ian Seymour, or Griffin Jacks.
I probably hold in that sense, but redraft, depending on if you're in a points or a rotisserie league, Seymour and Jacks have some added wildcard value because they're relief pitcher eligible. So depending on your site, if you're in a points league and your scoring system, they could be better than an average reliever you might have in one of those spots. So I'd look for them there, but I don't put any of these three guys over the three on your roster.
I'm with you. I like all of those guys.
Nothing wrong with them, but
and so this is one of those things where like sometimes you just got to prevent yourself from making a move that you don't personally need to make. Okay. We're getting a quote. There are no plans for Murphy or Richie to start. So we'll double check that, but that's kind of what we're seeing based on the fact that there's nothing suggesting he's going to start. Now, again, to what James's point was earlier, no plans for Murphy to start seems to imply this week. That doesn't mean that if Waldrop or Holmes or Lopez get lit up and Murphy looks great, that won't change in the future. But I think that does cloudy a little bit of that whole like must add. Yeah. Brenda also talked about how secure is Edwin Esmeralda and Valdez's starting job with Cruz and Horwitz expected back in July. Not super secure. I mean, if he keeps hitting like this, they're going to keep putting him in the lineup, but any wobble is going to open the door for the possibility of him losing some playing time. And the wobble could just be the fact that he's sporting a ridiculous swinging strike rate. Let me see what it is after the weekend. But he has a 36% strikeout rate, and he has a nearly 17% swinging strike rate. So
hard to see that sustaining.
That's generally not his zone contact rate. The league average zone contact rate is just under 87%. His zone contact rate is 70%. Whew. So it's just not the profile of somebody who continues to hit at this pace. And so I'm all for picking him up. I just don't expect it to be, I wouldn't drop somebody I'm really confident in the rest of the season for him.
I think also one last comment about Owen Murphy. It seems like probably because he last threw on July 1st that the indication might have been Lopez, Waldrop, Grant Holmes, Bryce Elder these next 4 days. You're getting into one of those games. By the law of averages, one of those guys isn't getting past the fourth inning. So at some point, you come in and pitch the fifth, sixth, seventh, if things go well, deeper, and then you kind of evaluate from there. Which is why, again, we said before, 15-team league, possible add, 10, 12, maybe add with an eye on what happens after the All-Star break.
Speaking of after the All-Star break, this question from Mad Dad is, Luis Robert Jr. is on a rehab assignment. Is he worth an IL stash, or will he be more headache than productive?
More headache for two reasons. One, because he's Luis Robert Jr. and he's always a headache in fantasy baseball. But two, the headache could come from how the Mets deploy him. I think the Mets really would like to put him up and see if he could do an audition to get traded and possibly get something back for this disastrous season that they've had so far. With that, I think they will opt to play him every day in center field. But the flip side of that is that AJ Ewing has been great, especially defensively. And they still don't start them against every lefty, which is annoying, especially watching him smack a home run with Martin Perez on Sunday. But there have been some reports coming out. The broadcast talked about this a lot, that Ewing, drafted as a shortstop, played tons of middle infield, second base specifically in the minor leagues through last year and the early part of this season. He's taken ground balls, they said, every single day since he's arrived in the major leagues. They are paving the way for AJ Ewing second base reps and Luis Robert to get back into center field for a period of time until hopefully, again, you can trade him for probably anything and just and then we evaluate from there. But he will, when Luis Robert Jr. is healthy, he will play because the Mets have to trade him.
Yes.
And keep an eye on AJ Ewing for second base eligibility at some point in the second half.
And it wouldn't shock me if Luis Robert Jr. plays well for a stretch. I mean,
he could play great.
Has done that before.
Yeah.
Jamie, any concerns about Kara getting benched now and then? Yes, we mentioned that. And we mentioned that they need to trade some outfielders. So yeah. Peter says, Bell. I assume this is Josh Bell has been on fire over the last month. Hold or drop Max Muncy for Bell, Karros, Lewis, or Goldie.
Hold Muncy.
So I assume all of those guys are on waiver wire. I'm holding
Muncy.
Muncy. I wrote about, I think we put Bell in our waiver wire column this week. And we just kind of said, like, this is, especially this year where he's getting so pull fly ball focused.
Yeah.
He is going to have stretches like this where he gets really hot. And so, I would put him in the lineup. I'd pick him up, but I wouldn't be dropping somebody who's like really useful to me for him.
Yeah.
Bordeaux says, hey guys, hope you had a nice holiday weekend. Hope you did as well. Any pitcher you think I could buy low on for Brandon Lau? I have Tatis at second and Ohtani takes up my utility spot unless he pitches. So I'm trying to look up on the Fangraphs player rater over the last 30 days. Brandon Lau ranks as the 107th player at an $11.30 valuation. Here are the pitchers, starting pitchers that come in below Brandon Lau for the last month. Let me know if you think any of these trades are realistic one for one.
Mm-hmm.
Braxton Ashcraft.
No.
Justin Robleski.
Yes.
Would you do that?
In this situation where, to me specifically, Lau has so little value, I would consider it, but I'd probably aim a tad bit higher.
Joey Cantillo.
I think similar here. I'm thinking you could get someone better than Lau, especially second base is still so weak. I think Griffin Jacks kind of lines up, someone we both like a lot, who sometimes
Cam Schlittler is below him. I don't think you're getting him there.
I don't think that one's
Chase Burns below him. You're not going to get
probably
that.
Not.
Joe Ryan. Not going to get that.
No.
Casey Mize.
I was going to say, I literally Casey Mize on the tip of my tongue. I think that would be a
Casey Mize, $9 valuation.
Troy Melton would be a funny one, but his ERA is so low that I think a manager wouldn't really do that.
Yeah. Casey Mize is an interesting one. Yeah. Shota Imanaga, $6 valuation. I still am a believer in Imanaga in the sense that I think he's fair value I think he's better value for Brandon Lau.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think Casey Mize could make some sense.
Evaldi has still been very inconsistent. I think that would be a shoot for the moon sense right there, but also not a very disrespectful offer. Yeah.
All right. Wrapping this up, we got a few quick hitters to take us home. On waivers, Dylan Cruz or JJ Bleday?
Cruz.
Yeah,
crazy.
I think we both are Cruz. If I am able to trade Nico Horner in a package and don't get a second baseman or middle infield back, is Blaze Alexander a good replacement? Yes, unless you are really needing the speed that Nico Horner gives you.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of leagues, I think I would take Blaze over Horner in general, which is kind of crazy, but yeah.
We talked about this before, and he was also in a potential cut article for me that unless you really need that speed, Nico Horner is not providing you a lot right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'd go ahead and do that.
Yeah, don't tell Eric Hosmer.
He clarifies that he needs power. So yeah, if you need power, I mean, Blaze Alexander doesn't have tons of power, but he has more than Nico Horner. So I'm okay with that.
Much more.
That's going to do it for today. We may be back on Tuesday or Thursday of next week. We're going to let you guys know the plan right now. There's no Monday because of the All-Star break, and I will be down in Philadelphia covering some stuff for All-Star weekend. So we are going to be back on Tuesday or Thursday of next week. We'll make sure to let you know as soon as possible so you get a heads up on that, and we'll help you through the rest of the All-Star weekend. We'll talk maybe more about some waiver claims, stuff like that, or the rest of the All-Star week, I guess, that weekend of games. Remember, it's a good time to get ahead of picking up some middle relievers if you're streaming starting pitchers, because the All-Star the rotations tend to get reshuffled after the All-Star break. Yeah. My streaming starting pitcher article is up on our site right now. James's Steals article is going up on Wednesday. We have an All-Star article that will probably go up on Wednesday or Thursday where we all voted on who we thought should be in the All-Star starting lineups. So we put together our own All-Star rosters. That's a staff article going up. So you should check that out as well. Enjoy the All-Star weekend. Enjoy maybe a few days off of not stressing about your lineups. That's always enjoyable. And we'll check you out next week on the Rotoworld Player News Fantasy Baseball Q&A.